the Spurs fan. John, good evening.
I'd just like to first of all say the guy that said kick Palace out after this season, brilliant idea, because, you know, that was a bit uncalled for what they did to us.
What did they do?
Well, they battered us.
They did, didn't they? Yes, they did, yeah.
Teams like Norwich coming up and selling the players that got them into the Championship as a business model to then take the Premiership, then take the money before they go back down again. That's what's wrong, because teams like Fulham come up and they fight and they invest and they do things. So there is something really wrong with that. And I think now might be the time to cut two from the English League and look at bringing Celtic and Rangers in.
Why do you want Scottish, Josh? What?
Whoa.
Hold on. No, what are they going to add to the Premier League?
I'll tell you what,
they'll just be the new Norwich.
Jason.
No, they wouldn't.
A couple of $100 million on the TV deal. And because they're getting their extra money, they would invest and stay and make a fight of it. I'm not in favour of that. No one in Tokyo tunes in to watch Norwich or Burnley. No. If you go to any bar in any Scottish bar, you can fill it with Celtic fans. International TV rights would go through the roof. And they would, in a couple of seasons, like the first season, they'd be awful. I mean, right now, they wouldn't get out of the Championship. But with enough of a kickstart cash injection from the extra TV revenue they would bring with them, they would actually then be able to settle.
I'd like to see that.
But you would be condemning Scottish football.
Sorry?
You'd be condemning.
No, I don't think you would.
I think you would, mate.
You would, because it's only Celtic and Rangers that win it every year anyway.
I know, but
Scottish fans want to.
I know, but
they want to see the others win it.
But don't Scottish and Rangers pretty much keep Scottish football afloat?
Well, no, can take all the money, Jason.
Don't they?
No, they take all the money.
But I'm saying the fans. No, I'm talking about the
20% of TV revenue.
No, but I'm saying that when they appear on TV, surely the league becomes weaker and less attractive without Celtic and Rangers. Surely that's the case, no?
Well, I think the Scottish League might do, but as a league, it'd be better for the other teams, and it would actually add some competition. The revenue would go down, but the split would be fairer, and the competition would actually become more of a viable competition.
Maybe.
So let's get 6 out of the Premier League then.
And also because they would actually bring money into the Premier League, whereas a lot of these other clubs that come up, they don't. And I lived in Norwich for a while. The club's great. I've watched many Norwich games. But the trouble is, it's a current business plan of getting up, not just coming up from the Championship and not spending, but selling the players that got them there.
That's a fair argument. Yeah, but I want to reduce the teams to 18. Grant, I want fewer games. John. Yeah. So how would you implement that? If you want to get rid of, you'd have to get rid of 4 teams out of the Premier League to bring in Celtic and Rangers.
Well, the only thing that I would say on that is it's a cold heart. I spend too much time in America, and you start making the requirements of being in the Premier League with stadium size, income, so you know that if those teams are going to come up, they've got the financial wherewithal and the ability to fight at a certain level. And maybe it's time for some of those clubs that aren't going to do that and aren't willing to do that and aren't willing to invest, but to stop going on the coattails. Because let's be honest, these clubs that don't do it, they're taking money out of the pockets of the big clubs that invest, that are the product that's actually being sold. With a collective bargaining.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, that's a fair argument.
Yeah, it's a very good call.